Welcome to my explanation of the DNA and Proteins lab. If you are absent for this lab, work through the lab packet as you watch. The purpose of this lab was to study how mutations may or may not cause a change in a trait's structure or function. There are two words that we'll be using during this lab, and we need to acquaint ourselves with them. Structure is how a trait is built, or its appearance. Function is how a trait works, or how well it does its job. In this lab, we tested how well a hand can transport water from one container to another. We used objects to simulate mutations to the hand to see if they affected the hand's appearance and the hand's ability to move water. An independent variable is what the experimenter purposely changes from trial to trial. In this case, it is the structure of the hand, because we're manipulating our own hands to fake mutations. A dependent variable is what we are measuring to see how the structure affects the function. In this case, it's the volume of the water transferred. In this lab, there were two hypotheses to make. For each of them, you have to fill in the blank with one of these three choices: always change, sometimes change, or never change. The first one is about structure. If a mutation in DNA occurs, then the structure of the trait will blank. In other words, if there's a mutation, do you think the appearance will always, sometimes, or never change? The second hypothesis is about function. If a mutation in DNA occurs, then the function of the trait will blank. So, if there's a mutation, do you think the ability of that part to do its job will always, sometimes, or never change? On this chart, you can see the normal DNA sequence and also the mutated DNA sequences. Mutant A had an insertion, which is marked by the pink circle. Mutant B had a substitution, which is marked by the green circle. Mutant C also had a substitution, which is marked by the orange circle. And mutant D had a deletion, which is marked by the blue line. This fill-in-the-blank portion is meant to give you a summary of how a mutation can lead to physical changes. A mutation changes a base in a DNA sequence. Each set of 3 bases, called a triplet, is the code for a particular amino acid. When strung together, the amino acids code for a particular protein, which determines the structure of your traits. So a change in the protein structure may or may not be visible and may or may not cause a change in the function, or how well the trait works.
Created using Powtoon.